Men, I want to challenge you to something real quick. Take a minute and ask yourself, how did you end up where you're at in life right now? Was it by plan? Was it by reaction? Was it by chance? How much did you directly have to do with how you ended up today, where you are today, who you are today? Did you craft that person, or did that person just show up? A lot of guys find themselves lost today. They find themselves living lives that they would have never constructed for themselves. They find themselves with spouses and partners in situations that they don't quite understand, but they know that they don't want for themselves. 2020 has just begun, and I'm going to give you 5 tips to make sure that you stay on the path that you choose and help you become the king that you were supposed to be. Stay tuned. So you're ready to crush it in 2020. I'm going to give you 5 tips that'll help you get on the path to that. And these tips aren't going to be the generic, go to the gym, stack your paper, find a hobby. We're not going to go over the same things that are basic common sense for anybody that's trying to up their status on a purely social, economic scale. What I want to talk about is advancing you as a man, as far as who you are, how you're showing up. And I think the important part of doing this is the first step, the foundational part of this is to restructure who you are as a man. And in order to do that, there are certain things that we have to do systematically in order to chip away all the bullshit and all of the things that have piled on that have made you who you have been up to this point and gotten you to where you are. These are really simple. They're simple tips, but if you take them seriously, if you take the time to grab a piece of paper and write these things down, and after this video is over, go through these things and put some real effort into them. Put the same effort into yourself as you would a new love interest or whatever it is that you find yourself obsessing about in order to get it what it is that you want. Put in the equal effort. Put in at least that much effort and see what you get out of it. Tip number 1 is consider yourself someone that you are truly interested in getting to know, someone that you care about and that you really want to get to know. What I've found is most of us are going through life and we're just carrying a script that we were issued very young in life. We learn how to maneuver through our lives in order to get the things that we want in life and also in order to avoid negative consequences and that we don't want. And so what we end up being as adults ends up being a collective of different inputs that we had. And so instead of just accepting who you are as a person and all of the things that have happened in your life as just the way things are and just the way things go, consider for a moment that you are a person that you just met that you sincerely wanted to get to know. How would you go about doing that? What questions would you ask? And how would you listen to that person if you sincerely cared about the things that they said? It's imperative for you to do that for and to yourself, because very few people understand what moves them, the dark tendencies and the programming that we've got. It's almost like we're on autopilot. And so when you see someone who reacts to life in a negative light, and you really want to get to know them, when you start asking questions, those people will give you an insight as to why they react to the world the way that you see it, and then you can better understand what it is that they're going through, and you can also help navigate, help them find a better way of dealing with things and maybe reparent and heal the things that caused them to show up in this way in the first place. So tip number 1 is treat yourself like someone that you care about and like somebody that you are truly interested in getting to know. Number 2 is take full responsibility for your life, for who you are, where you're at, the conditions of your life, understand that after a certain point, everything that happens in your life is a direct consequence of the decisions that you make. And you can go back and complain and blame your parents and, society and all these different things. And to a large extent, you could be right. But the problem with that is everybody's got the same type of shit that they have to go through in life. Everybody's got hardships. Everybody's got different things. And if we all pathologize our lives and justify being, a piece of shit or less than what we're able to be because of what happens, what happened in the past, what's the point of even going forward if it's just that's where you stop growing, why are you still here? And so number two is accept full responsibility. Look at your life, and I'm not saying blame, I'm saying responsibility. If you fall into a hole, it is your responsibility to grab a hold of the rope or climb out. It's your responsibility to take advantage of whatever opportunity you have to get out of that hole. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Take responsibility for your life. Number three, and this is probably one of the most important things, and it's probably going to be the most difficult. You've got to stop lying. We lie more than we think we do. Even people who believe that they're honest people, if you count every lie, like the self-limiting lies that we say, I don't have enough time, that's a lie. All the different things that just those small little lies, we tell them all day, every day. Very few people have the discipline to be honest. Do I look fat in this? No, honey, you look fine. It's a lie. And you might discount it, but it's a lie. And by not sharing the truth with somebody who asks you a question, you're not doing them any service. What you're doing is number one, you're being a coward. When you lie, it is a betrayal to yourself, because what you're doing is you're going against what you truly want to say or what you truly want to do, who you truly want to be. So what you're doing when you're lying is you're betraying yourself. But more than that, you're a coward. You're too afraid to say what you really want to say or give your honest opinion because you fear the ramifications of somebody else not liking what you said. And so number three is really important. Don't lie. Or if that's too hard, then do like Jordan Peterson says, and do your best to not say anything that you know is not true. Now, in our program, in our 90 Day of Suck program, this is what you have to do for the first week. Before you even start the program, the first week is really taking a really good look at yourself and how you've shown up in life and practicing not lying. It is that difficult because we lie to ourselves so much, which is often what keeps people in the situations that they don't want. They believe that that's just the way that it's supposed to go, or they don't deserve any better, or all the limiting beliefs, which are just lies. They're just justifications to stay where they're at. All of those things are part and parcel to why a lot of people end up stuck and never really find the potential or reach the potential that they had. And so I would urge, it was really hard to not put this number one, but the first three of these almost are married together. Don't lie. Don't lie, especially to yourself. If you can master not lying to yourself, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to stop lying to the external world. And I challenge you for the next week, just take a notebook out, a piece of paper, or even notes in your phone. And every time you catch yourself telling a lie, even if it's a small, white, innocent lie, make a tally. If you've got time, write it out. If not, just make a mark, a little chink mark on a paper. And the course of a day will show you how much you lie. And when you lie, you change everything in your life. You change the fabric of everything in your world. And that's generally why you do it. You generally tell a lie to change your reality so that you don't suffer the consequences of telling the truth. What I have found, the consequences of telling the truth are way less painful than the consequences of a lie being found out that you told. So try for the next week, really put an emphasis on number 3 and try not to lie. And that moves us into number 4. Now that you have an idea of who you are, you've taken the time to do some research on yourself and find out why it is that you've moved the way you have moved. You should have a really good example and an idea of why you have ended up the way where you are and the way you are today. If you are in a position where you have followed somebody else's dream and you're unhappy, that should be laid out pretty clear in front of you. And whatever it may be, it should be relatively evident to you at this point, how you ended up where you're at. But even more so, now you can have an idea of what it is that you want to do. I read a quote and it said something along the line of, in order to get what you really want, you must first be who you really are. And I think that's a crucial statement, because so many times we get ourselves into situations that we don't really want to, we don't want to be there, we don't want to do these things, but we've got ourselves painted into a corner to where we're doing it because we've shown up and pretended to be or to want or to think something that opposes what we really want in those situations. And so now that you have a better idea of what it is that you truly want in your life, who you are as a person, make a plan and a plan of action. You should have an idea of what you want to do that makes you happy, a plan that makes you feel fulfilled. And so right now, number 4, make that plan, write that map, and map out the kind of person that you would need to be, the things that you need to change, the things that you need to do in order to take a step at a time. Every day is one step toward that person and one step away from the person that you've discovered that you no longer really want to have running your life anymore. And so number 4 is take an assessment of where you are and where you want to be, and then make a plan about how you get to that destination, as well as the person that you would need to be to accomplish those things. And that brings us to number 5. And number 5 is painful. It can be very painful, but it's absolutely necessary. And I call that cleaning out your closet. Now, when I used to tell him to clean up his room, what he would do is he would spend hours in that room, and the kid would he would go get the Windex, he would get the stuff for the floor, the vacuum cleaner, and he would spend hours in his room doing, I assumed he was cleaning up his room. Well, I would go in and I would do a light inspection, just take a peek in. I was taking him at his word that he had cleaned the room, and when I took a peek in, it was spotless. I mean, the bed was made, it looked military, everything was put away, tucked, and it looked nice. Man, one day I went into his room, I was looking for something, and I couldn't find it in his drawers, so I opened his closet, and it was almost like a cartoon. All the shit that was on everything that he picked up off the floor and took from under his bed, he stuffed it in his closet. And the work that he did to stick it in the closet was way more than it would have taken if he would have just taken his time and put it up and done it right the first time. And, this happened several times when he was a little kid. And there was a lot of junk. There was a lot of junk in there. Most of the stuff that he stuffed in there was stuff that he felt like somewhere down the line he was going to make use of. Old magic, hats and cards and, just different things that he had gone through during the course of his growing up, his little hobbies. At some point he was going to get back to them, and they were still important. So all of that stuff went in the closet. Well, I think a lot of us live our lives that way. The stuff that is given to us as children, we don't understand that stuff anyway. Those early programming, the early experiences that we have that scar us and mold us and form who we are, those are already put in the closet with, marks on them that we don't even understand the language, because those things were done before we had any play in it. But as we grow up, these other experiences, good and bad, mostly bad and uncomfortable, we stuff those things in there as well. And with those things are experiences, expectations, and people. And so, number 5, and this is critical, if you want to change your life, it's absolutely imperative that you open up your closet and take a good look at what you're keeping. A lot of times we keep old friends and old habits and old hangouts and old mindsets. We keep these things around because we really haven't thought of their uselessness or usefulness in our lives anymore. And one of the things that I see for men is the group that they hang in. It's well known that we are an example of the 5 people that we spend the most time of. That's what makes up who we are. So if you're hanging around with 5 losers, the 6th one is most definitely going to be you. And that's one of the things that we have to look at as we're growing up and we're leaving boyhood to manhood. Sometimes we have to throw away toys and habits and hobbies and friends that aren't really serving the purpose of where we're trying to go. So clean out your closet. Clean out your closet and get rid of all the things that do not serve your destination that you've decided that you're wanting to go to. If you decide that these things are worthy of trying to transport, then you've got, then you know, if you have friends that you don't want to give up, tell them where you're going and see if they're willing to jump in the car with you, but do not let them anchor you to where you've been if you want to make something better for your life. Sometimes you got to let things go to get where you want to go. A boat that's anchored could never reach a destination. So it's very simple. They're really, really, really simple tips, but none of them are really easy. Again, consider yourself someone who's important and someone that you want to get to know, and find out where you ended up where you are now, how you ended up where you are now. Take full responsibility for everything that's in your life. Stop fucking lying. Be honest about everything, especially when you're talking to yourself. Make a plan. Find out where you want to go. Make your destination so crystal clear. Make the action that you're going to take, not that you want to take, that you're going to take, so crystal clear that people that you talk to get tired of hearing you talk about it. But also move toward that target. And number 5, make sure your closet is clean and keep it clean. Those 5 tips will help you crush the early part of 2020. And on the next installment, what I'm going to do is I'll give you 5 more tips that'll help you dial in your physicality. Stay tuned, gentlemen. We're going to build this kingdom.